What's up? Grandma here. And today I did what you wish your grandma could do, and I played some Elden Ring. I want to share with you my Frost Phantom Magic Build. This mage uses several synergies to destroy everything, both in PvE and PvP. She's perfect whether you're fighting the fire giant or just out farming. She has been so much fun to play and can easily solo pretty much anything and everything while being versatile for just about every co-op situation she faces. Feel free to take this witch on a nice relaxing walk through the beautiful and ever so charming abysmal woods. Silent as a stealth archer in Skyrim, you walk right by those bitches, unseen and untouched, making exploration in this area a whole nother ballgame. Now, I'm not trying to make one of the most recent buff stacking builds, and I believe you could probably make this build even better by switching things up all the time, but that's just not how I play. So, as I always say, I play the way I play, you play the way you play, and if you play like I play, then this might help you. If you want to see the build, let's get to it. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Or not, you do you, boo. But it really does help me grow this channel. And as a tiny creator, I could use all the likes I can get. If you really want to make my day, leave a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear them. Okie dokie, I'm level 235, but you can absolutely play this at a lower level. I would just make sure that you have your intelligence at 80 to maximize your deeps as much as possible. And for maximum casting speed, I would make sure you have your dexterity at 40, but more on that in a minute. I like to stay alive, so I keep my vigor at 60. Enough said. I also like to not run out of FP, so I keep my mind at 50. Faith and Arcane are not needed at all, so you can save points there for sure. Strength only needs to be at 8 for this build, but if you can afford it, I like to keep it at 20, as it gives you more melee weapon choices, and you can also switch out an offhand staff for that jellyfish shield if you want the 12.5 boost to damage. But I can't decide on which staff I would get rid of, so personally, I don't use it. For this build, we need to be able to have an equip load of at least 43, so I have 20 points in endurance. We're wearing the black knife armor since it's part of the whole, phantom thing, and it muffles your footsteps while also it stops you from leaving footprints in the snow. That's perfect for PvP, whether you're a hunter or an invader. Stealthy is always a smart playstyle, and let's face it, it's fun. Oh, and it has this cool glitch thing with the Mimic's Veil where your form is embedded in the Mimic's form. You can just put that right in the fun pile. Since we're talking about armor, I'm wearing the Snow Witch hat, which will boost our frost spells by 10%. I'm also wearing the Rakshasa gauntlets for an extra 2% damage. And lastly, the Black Knife Greaves, because I just think they look cool with the Black Knife armor, but you can sub it out with the Rakshasa legs for another 2% if you don't care about being pretty. I'm a look good, play good girl, so for me, it's an obvious choice. Since I get summoned to play a lot of co-op, and that means we only have a limited amount of flasks to fill our FP, I'm using the Carrion Regal Scepter plus 10, instead of Lusat's Glintstone Staff, which would give us a higher damage output, but at a really high cost of FP, and in co-op, that's a negative. Also, the Scepter gives us a 10% boost to our Full Moon sorcery. I keep this in my main hand so I can pair it with the Carrion Glintstone Staff in our offhand for its passive 15 damage buff to Carrion Sword sorcery, which affects 2 of our spells, but more on that when we get to spells. In our second main and offhand, I dual wield the Staff of Loss. Just make sure the one in the main hand is the one you level the highest for the most damage output. Your offhand doesn't matter. My third offhand, I carry the Meteorite Staff, and I will use it passively with the Carrion Scepter for an additional 30% to our gravity spells. For my last main hand weapon, I use Wing of Estelle plus 10 for melee because it's quick and it scales with intelligence, making it one of the best weapons for a mage. Also, it makes pretty sparkles, and face it, who doesn't like that? For our talismans, we go pretty vanilla for a mage. I use the Graven Mask for its 8% potency to all sorceries, the Magic Scorpion Charm for its 12% magic damage increase. The damage negation isn't really a big deal at only 10%, and this build allows enough HP to take a hit. So if you're smart and you play like I play, you have no intention of being hit. So the damage negation deficit really isn't much difference than wearing light armor, which is the norm for mages anyway, so really it all balances out in my build theory. Now, if the damage negation is a big deal for you, feel free to replace it with the Graven School Talisman. That can be stacked with the Graven Mask Talisman, bringing it up to 12% boost in your spell sorcery. I use the Radagon icon, which is where the 40% in dexterity comes into play. The amount of dexterity needed to cast at your fastest speed is 70. The Radagon icon gives you 30 virtual dexterity when you're casting spells, therefore eliminating the need for the beloved Stardust, which gives you an overkill of 99 virtual dexterity when casting, but it also comes at the huge cost of 30% damage negation, which is a lot even for me. Lastly, I have the Godfrey icon, which increases the attack power of 3 of our spells by 15%. Alright, let's talk about spells now and see how this all synergizes. Now, because we are a phantom and we want to be sneaky, we have Unseen Form. This one speaks for itself. You can cast it with any staff. It's useful when you want to sneak around and not get noticed. I really love using it in catacombs and dungeons. Also, it's great for PvP. Next, we have Terra Magica, which gives us 22.5% more magic damage. That's huge, but you need to be standing in one spot, so it is used situationally, but it's great, and you should always try to use it when you can. It doesn't scale with damage, so it too can be cast with any staff. Right after Terra Magica, I had Granny's Dark Moon. I placed it this way on purpose, since that combo is usually how I open my bigger fights like Malkath and Melania. Because not only does this spell synergize with Carrion Regal Scepter for its 10% boost to food magic, it's also getting a 10% boost for frost damage from the Snow Witch hat. But even though it's bugged in patch 1.13, it also debuffs the enemy for a 10% magic damage resistance. PvE should be at 20%. Hopefully, they'll fix that at some point. Next up, I have the Carrion Slicer, which is easy to cast and has a great damage versus FP consumption, making it a great melee option for dungeon crawling. This skill is boosted 15% by the Carrion Regal Scepter. For those moments when you get invaded or summoned as a hunter, I use the Carrion Regal Scepter to cast Glintblade Trio, followed by Collapsing Stars. It's a hilariously fun combo and can often kill the invader before they know what even hit them. Just make sure the Meteorite Staff is in your offhand to get that extra 30% damage bonus to your gravity spell. Both spells are chargeable, so add another 15% damage from the Godfrey icon from this combo. Since gravity is so much fun and I like to have a nice AoE spell to clear out mobs, I use one of my favorite spells, Gravitational Missile. This one has a great knockback effect as well, which never hurts whether you're playing solo, co-op, or PvP. I use Night Comet, which is also one of the best spells. It does comparable damage to Comet while using less FP, making it the obvious choice, and it fits with the Phantom theme. This invisibility spell does great damage, especially when you dual wield the Staff of Loss. The staff gives you a 30% bonus to invisibility spells and stacks multiplicatively. It's hard for baddies to see coming, so you're more likely to land your attacks. Finally, one of our biggest hitters, the Duelist Moonblade. This spell's cold damage is boosted 10% by the Snow Witch hat and the Carrion Glintblade staff, carried on our offhand for another 15% damage. This spell is amazing for clearing out a room of mobs, and it's great for taking out the Fire Giant. Well, that's it. That's the Frost Phantom Mage. I hope you like it. Keep watching. See you next. And if you made it this far, you might as well like and subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss the next one.